I would like to apologize for my conduct last evening. It was not characteristic of my game.
That's ridiculous, right there.
That is
absolutely ridiculous.
That's a Bush League play by Derrick Thomas.
Personal foul. Defense, number 58.
This might be one of the more embarrassing moments in Chiefs' recent history.
I promise you, at the end of the game, you're not going to like me. If you didn't like me at the beginning of the game, you're going to hate me at the end of the game. Trust me.
Shannon Sharpe and Derrick Thomas, two Pro Bowl Hall of Famers facing off numerous times while on rival teams during the 1990s. The former Denver Broncos Shannon Sharpe is known for having cutting words and being perhaps one of the biggest trash talkers that has ever played in the NFL. Sharpe was a menace at the tight end position, one who revolutionized the position, paving the way for those receiver-like tight ends such as Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, and George Kittle, a self-proclaimed best dresser who has now found his candidness and honesty as a successful television host.
You like that?
On the opposing side of the line of scrimmage is former Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Derrick Thomas, acclaimed for not only what he contributed on the field as a pass rusher who had one of the quickest first steps in the game, but also is celebrated for what he did off of the field for the Kansas City and Miami communities. A man who made an impact in a life that was tragically cut short. An NFL Man of the Year winner, a once troubled youth who had turned his life around. Derrick was a punctual individual whose need to be on time may have cost him his life. But that's not what we're discussing here today. Today we're going to discuss a fateful Monday night in 1998 where these two future Hall of Famers who had faced off numerous times before and would continue in the future grabbed the headlines with their verbal interactions on the field. What did Shannon Sharpe say to Derrick Thomas during a game that made him go completely irate and cause destruction for his team on that November night in Kansas City? Well, you're going to be quite shocked at how incredible this story is. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, back again with another video. Before we get to the content, please take a moment to sack that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Every single time you like one of my videos, it tells YouTube, hey, I like this guy's content. Show me more of his content, please. Which YouTube might not be doing that a lot because a lot of my content has been getting demonetized lately. So please, if you have a moment, sack that like button, subscribe, and turn on my notifications. On top of that, I live stream on twitch.tv/FlightMike on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. You can say that Shannon Sharpe and Derrick Thomas had the kind of rivalry that was similar to brothers. Perhaps brothers who sometimes didn't always get along too well. A pair who had their tight-knit times, but when it came to competition, there wasn't anything that was off limits. Two opposites who maybe were more alike than different. Derrick Thomas was raised in Miami and attended the football powerhouse of the University of Alabama, where he left NFL scouts wiping drool off of their chins. He was mainly noticed due to his size paired with an incredible first step that propelled him instantaneously towards the quarterback just after the ball was snapped. Once a childhood troublemaker who almost didn't make it through school due to his behavior issues, Derrick became interested in reading, and literacy became an important part of his life. Derrick Thomas was also a father to 7 children from 5 different mothers and the pride and joy of his mother, Edith. On the other side of the line of scrimmage, we have Shannon Sharpe, a man that grew up in Georgia in the shadow of an NFL wide receiver who was his older brother. Shannon was not the best student in the classroom, but was a multi-sport athlete. Although he didn't attend a power football school, he was successful at a local college, Savannah State. Unlike Thomas, Sharpe was not at the top of draft boards and went 7th round to the Denver Broncos in 1990, whereas Thomas was a first-rounder drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs the year prior in 1989. Although Shannon Sharpe was listed as a tight end, he was more like a wide receiver, and Sharpe is also a father to 3 children from 3 different mothers. Both Thomas and Sharpe would put up Hall of Fame numbers, facing each other at least twice a year since they were both part of teams in the AFC West. Derrick Thomas would be named to his first Pro Bowl in his rookie year, the first of 9, and Sharpe would earn 8 Pro Bowl nods once he got rolling by his 3rd season. Shannon Sharpe would earn 3 Super Bowl rings in his entire career, while the Chiefs failed to reach the final game, often finishing behind the Denver Broncos in the division. When we tally up everything, Shannon Sharpe in his 14-year NFL career, 12 seasons being with Denver, scored 62 touchdowns and had over 10,000 receiving yards, almost unheard of for a tight end. Derrick Thomas, in his 11-year career, when he passed away tragically from complications following a winter car accident that had left him paralyzed. And by the way, we do go more into Derrick Thomas's death in a video on NFL players who passed away tragically in their primes. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. But Derrick Thomas would have 126.5 career sacks, including a record 7 sacks in one game. Thomas recorded 1 interception and recovered 19 fumbles, returning them for 161 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that sets the stage for the great duels that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos would have in the late 1990s. Most of these games were often nationally televised duels. There weren't just for Broncos and Chiefs fans watching, but the entire nation, as both rosters were filled with talent and great coaches manned the sidelines. There was one specific game, however, that would be a classic for years to come due to some crafty trash talking from Broncos tight end Shannon Sharpe. In 1998, the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos' first matchup was late in the season, a November 16th Monday night game in Kansas City. Although the Chiefs were 4-5 and the Broncos were steamrolling their opponents at an undefeated record of 9-0, the rivalry game was anticipated by many. As the season before, the Chiefs had gone 13-3 and they lost just by 4 points to the Broncos in the divisional matchup, and the Broncos had held the Lombardi Trophy up in late January. Especially if your season is getting off to a rough start, beating the defending undefeated Super Bowl champions that are also a division rival would do wonders to set your season back on track. On top of that, the Kansas City Chiefs were playing at home, and the crowd at Arrowhead Stadium was especially loud that night. Unfortunately, the Denver Broncos would start off the game by taking a quick 14-0 lead, and in the 4th quarter, the Broncos were now leading 23-7, and the game was basically wrapped up. During the Broncos' final touchdown drive, there was an incident where all of the referees' whistles started to go crazy. In 11 plays, 10 of which were running plays due to basic clock management, the Chiefs were flagged 5 times for unsportsmanlike conduct. Literally 5 times. I've never seen something like it in my entire career as an NFL fan personally. The penalties added up for 75 of the Broncos' 80 yards in their final offensive drive, which did end up in a Denver touchdown, by the way. But what was up with the Chiefs' defense being penalized so many times in their own friendly confines in a game that was basically over? Well, there was one individual that got really upset in the middle of this game, and that was the anchor to the Kansas City Chiefs defense, Derrick Thomas. Derrick Thomas lost his football mind due to Shannon Sharpe's creative trash talking. In 2015, years after the incident and years after Derrick Thomas had passed away, Shannon Sharpe revealed to everybody what he said that 4th quarter back in 1998, saying, "I can say whatever. He's not here to refute what I would say. He and I made peace with what transpired. We both could have handled the situation better. And that was my fault, because I had hung out with Derrick. I had worked out with Derrick. I knew Derrick. We had been to Pro Bowls together. We had worked out together and been at the same places and done things together. I had the utmost respect. He is the best true pass rusher that I have ever faced. For that one moment, however, he and I allowed emotions to get the better of us. So if you go back to that Monday night in 1998, the Broncos would start their final drive on their own 20-yard line. There's a penalty on Chester McLaughlin for unnecessary roughness, which was a 15-yard penalty. Shannon Sharpe gets a clipping penalty the next play, and the Broncos are now on their own 25, where Derrick Thomas is flagged for unnecessary roughness. There are 2 short running plays, then on the third, there is a face mask penalty on Derrick Thomas. His second one in the series.
That's ridiculous right there. That is absolutely ridiculous.
That's a Bush League play by Derrick Thomas.
Wayne Simmons, a player on the Chiefs, then gets an unsportsmanlike conduct flag, and now the Broncos are now on the Chiefs' 9-yard line, all thanks to the penalties.
This might be one of the more embarrassing moments in Chiefs' recent history here.
Derrick Thomas once again gets a face mask penalty, which puts the Broncos well rested and on the 2-yard line for an easy touchdown run. A lot of Chiefs fans were probably wondering what is going on after that series. Well, the urban legend is that Shannon Sharpe, who worked out with Derrick Thomas, and they hung out around each other sometime in the offseason and had known each other for years, recited the phone number, and bear in mind, this is back when people actually memorized phone numbers, of Derrick Thomas's girlfriend, 1 digit at a time, close enough for Derrick Thomas to hear exactly what Sharpe was saying. And this was apparently enough to send Thomas off the rails. After the game, Sharpe took pride in his ability to get under number 58's skin, saying, "I have perfected the talent to make people upset. Trust me, I know what to say to get to anybody." Wayne Simmons, also a linebacker who was probably supporting his teammate with his penalty, was released after the game, although he had not been playing well that season. Derrick, for his actions, was suspended a week by the Chiefs and was not allowed to practice or travel with the team to San Diego the following Sunday. Thomas was also required to issue a formal apology. Even the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, the highly respected AFL founder Lamar Hunt, had to address the media following the Monday night game, saying, "I thought we disgraced this organization and certainly this community." Chiefs head coach Marty Schottenheimer also reflected on the matter, and in his comments said, "I'm embarrassed, I'm angry, and I'm really disappointed." At the end of the game, some individuals decided what's best for this football team is not what's important to them, but their own personal agenda is what's important to them. I assure you that conduct is not going to be tolerated. I want to apologize to Lamar, the people in this organization, and particularly to the fans, who deserve better than what took place. Thomas called a press conference and apologized to his family, the Chiefs organization, fans, and Shannon Sharpe telling the Associated Press,
"I would like to apologize for my conduct last evening. It was not characteristic of my game."
To the youth of America that look up to Derrick Thomas, I apologize to you because that is not sportsmanlike conduct, and you should not conduct yourself that way on the field. To Shannon, who I've known for a long time, and we've had our ins and outs and run-ins, I apologize to him because those types of actions shouldn't occur in a football game. After the Chiefs suspended Thomas, Sharpe complimented his own trash-talking actions by saying, "Not many guys can trash-talk a guy into getting suspended by his own team. It was my finest moment." The Chiefs would finish at the bottom of the barrel that season, and Marty Schottenheimer was dismissed as the head coach, and the Broncos went on to win their second Super Bowl in a row. Tragically, just a couple years later, Derrick Thomas was headed to the airport to catch a flight to watch the NFC Championship game, when the Suburban he was driving rolled over several times, ejecting him and killing a passenger who were both not wearing a seatbelt. Another passenger in the SUV who was wearing a seatbelt ended up being okay. Thomas was driving around 70 miles per hour at the time, but a winter snowstorm had led to ice and snow accumulating on the interstate that morning. Thomas sustained injuries that left him paralyzed from the chest down and had returned to Miami when on the way to physical therapy. A large blood clot from his legs entered his lungs and caused him to pass away. Derrick Thomas was officially posthumously inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in August 2009 and is still the Chiefs' all-time sack leader. His number 58 jersey was retired for the Chiefs and is still one of the most common jerseys you will see fans in Arrowhead wear on Sundays. Derrick Thomas's Third and Long Foundation, which helped him earn the NFL Man of the Year award, is still an actively running organization in Kansas City, That foundation that Thomas started in 1990 is supported by the Chiefs organizations and numerous Kansas City area donors. The organization is still successfully running with the help of Thomas's former Chiefs teammate, Neil Smith. Just last year, a football field in Kansas City was named Derrick Thomas Field, where Neil Smith stood up and spoke of Derrick Thomas, a name that will always be close to the hearts of Chiefs fans and hopefully never forgotten by those who watch the NFL. This past NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs were Super Bowl winners for the first time in 50 years, their win taking place just 33 miles north of where Derrick Thomas passed away 20 years before. Shannon Sharpe was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011, just a couple years after Derrick, and said of the 1998 incident that we had a great conversation. He and I both made peace, and he moved on, and I moved on. I'm sad that he's no longer with us, but I feel good that I was able to say my part to him while he was still here. Something you would hear brothers say to each other. Everyone who knew Derrick Thomas can imagine his hearty laugh when Skip Bayless gives Shannon Sharpe a hard time and gets him riled up as they go at it on Fox Sports' daily show, Undisputed. And there is no one more than Derrick who knows that Sharpe is gifted with his words and has the talent to dish it right back. Thank you for watching one of our earliest episodes of our new trash talking series. If there's any other trash talking moments that you want us to cover that happened in NFL history, please suggest it in the comment section down below. One of the ideas I had was I wanted to cover when T.O. celebrated on the Dallas Star, but I'm also open to some of your other ideas. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm going to drop our mic until our next upload.